Hi everyone, I am Nail and welcome to Simply Nail's Tiny Studio. How are you doing this evening? It is Sunday, May the 1st, 2022. Wow, we're already in the month of May. Can you believe it? I can't, but it is what it is, right? Well, how have you been doing? It's been a minute since I've been in the tiny studio filming, and one of the reasons why is because I wanted to slow things down a little bit. I wanted to be more organic. I didn't want to let this series on YouTube run away from me. I didn't want to start feeling that pressure to film all the time and then post every day. I wanted to be truly organic in this experience, and I definitely did not want to burn out. So I am back, and I will make it my best to be here every Sunday evening after the episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta comes on Bravo TV. So I'm really excited about it. I am a Real Housewives of Atlanta fan. I've been watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, oh my God, 14 years, 14 seasons. Isn't that something? So today, of course, this is Let's Crochet and Chat, and we're going to crochet, or, if you knit, feel free to knit. If you're participating in any type of hobby or craft, and you're up tonight, let's go ahead and do that together. I will be crocheting. What I'm going to be crocheting today is I'll be crocheting a throw that my future daughter-in-law Janae has commissioned for me to create for her. And so it's going to be black and gray, and let me show you it right now. I was literally so excited that my future daughter-in-law came to me and said that she wanted a throw, and I'm going to tell you why. I had wanted to make her a throw for she and my son's beautiful couch that they have in their living room. I've been wanting to do that for a while, but I didn't want to sit back and be like, hey you guys, let me do this for you, because I didn't want to encroach on whatever she has going on design wise in her household, and I didn't want to be that mother-in-law. So I decided that I would wait, and she came to me and she asked me to make, to design an Afghan for her living room, and she chose the colors. We went to Hobby Lobby together, and we had a great time. My son came along, and we looked at a lot of different types of yarn, and she had ideas, and she knew what she wanted, and she knew which direction she wanted to head in, and all I was there for was to give her advice on the type of yarn that we would go with. But basically she had that sewn up. She knew exactly what she wanted. So I started on the Afghan maybe about 3 days ago, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure I got the right pattern to fit what I wanted to do. But I'm a free-form crocheter, and I had to get out of my own mind. I had to stop looking around for, which type of pattern will look good, because she told me to feel free and to do what, I thought was best. And I'm a free-form crocheter, and so I have 2 design crochet stitches that I'm going to be using in this particular Afghan, and I'm really excited about it. I haven't decided on the edging or the border pattern of the Afghan yet, but I feel it'll come to me eventually. So I'm not going to worry too much about it, but I'm going to keep my design eye out for what will look nice on this particular Afghan. So I think I shared with you the colors of the Afghan in another video, but I chose True Colors by Yarn Bee from Hobby Lobby, and it's a chunky weight yarn, and it's a great type of yarn when you are considering making an Afghan. But you can make an Afghan out of any type of weight yarn, but I'm liking the way this is coming out, and I'm really excited about it. Let me show it to you. Okay, here is one skein of the True Colors yarn, and let's see, here is the second skein. Okay, so this is what the Afghan is looking like so far. As I said, the colors are black and gray, or gray and black. So here's the Afghan now. This is it. So as I said, I'm using 2 different stitch patterns in this Afghan or throw. So far I'm using the moss stitch, and I'm using the seed stitch. So both of those stitches are in this, and I'm going to bring it up close to you so you can see it. These are the 2 stitches that I will be using on this Afghan. And then of course, you know, I was thinking about maybe adding a couple of bobble stitches to it, maybe some popcorn stitches, because you know, I'm fascinated by the bobble stitch and the popcorn stitch. But you know what, I was also thinking of incorporating maybe maybe a zigzag stitch, maybe a few rows of front post single crochet, maybe a few rows of back post single crochet. We'll see how it turns out. I'm really excited about it, but you know, it is late and it's Sunday, and people want to do what they gotta do, so I need to stop talking and get on with it, right? Now, as I said, this was the premiere episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 14. As we all anticipated, and we know, our girl, the OG, Sheree Whitfield, who gonna check me, boo? She's back. I am so excited. Let me tell you, when I heard that Sheree was coming back, I was like, yeah, it's about time. I've been waiting for it. You know what? And I hated the fact that she came back for season 10, and then they didn't, you know, she didn't come back for season 11. I thought that when she came back for season 10 that she was coming back permanently, but it didn't turn out that way. So I'm glad my girl Sheree is back. I really, really like Sheree. That's been my girl since day one, since season 1, episode 1. Sheree has been my girl. Okay, she recently did an interview with Carlos King on his podcast called Reality King or something like that, and she answered a question that I really feel we already knew the answer to, but Carlos asked her if Nene's name was left off the list, her guest list, on purpose during the episode on season 1 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, when Nene couldn't get into Sheree's event that she was having in her home. And so, but we all knew that Sheree had left Nene's name off the list on purpose. We all knew that to be true. Well, at least I did, because I just caught that vibe. It felt like Sheree wasn't, you know, fooling with Nene at that time. And, you know, they tried to put it on the assistant, saying that the assistant left Sheree off the list. But here's the deal. When Sheree didn't come outside to or come and personally invite Nene into the party, that's when I knew that Nene was left off the list on purpose. So Sheree didn't have to tell me. I knew that she had done that. So I thought that was a great interview. If you haven't already seen it, go to Spotify and look up Reality King with Carlos King, and that interview with Sheree Whitfield should be there. But anyhow, we were all excited for Sheree to come back. Let me see. You have Kenya Moore, homegirl from Detroit. You have, oh, this is the cast. The cast is Sheree Whitfield, OG, Kenya Moore from Detroit. You have Candy Burris, Tucker. You have, and you know, Candy's show came on, Candy and the Gang. Her show comes on right after the Real Housewives of Atlanta. You have Drew Zadora and her husband Ralph, her friend Sonia or Sanya, and her husband Ross, I think that was his name, I think that's his last name. I'm not sure. And am I missing somebody? I sure am, right? Let me see. I said Sheree, Kenya, Candy, Drew, Sonya. Oh, Marlo. Marlo is the peach holder, y'all. She's a full-time cast member. So this opening episode was very interesting, and it was very interesting, and I laughed a little bit. So go and grab your knitting, your crochet, whatever whips you have going on right now. Go ahead and grab those things, and I'm going to get set up over here. And listen, do not forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button. Come on. If you enjoy hanging out with me in the tiny studio, show that you do by subscribing to the channel, so you will be notified whenever I pop into the tiny studio to film and talk about all things crochet, whips, yarn, all those great things. If you love my dreads and you want to get some information about my dread lifestyle, I have a show called Dreadlock Love. And if you are feeling my vintage Coach purses back there, I talk about Coach as well. There are a lot of things happening in the tiny studio that you may want to enjoy. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also click that like button, because that lets me know the type of content that you would like to see happening in the tiny studio. Okay, so go and grab your whips, and I'll be right back. I'm just grabbing my yarn bucket, and as some of you know, I have repurposed a popcorn bucket. I have two of them. Of course, this is the Wonder Woman Wonder Woman bucket. This is what the large or the extra large popcorn came in when the movie came out. So I have two of these, and they were supposed to be you could bring them back to have them refilled. We had some type of AMC membership or something like that. And so my husband took them back a few times to get them refilled with popcorn. But after that, I cleaned them. I have two. I cleaned them, and I use this one as a yarn bowl. So I'm getting ready to put the yarn in the bowl. Get it together so we can get started, because child, it is Sunday night, and believe it or not, I have on a nightgown under here. I do, because after I finish filming, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to hop right on in the bed. Yes, I am, because it's Sunday, you know, and I have some things I need to do tomorrow. And you know, oh, it's Sunday, and Sundays is also reserved for Jamie, Malcolm, James, Mackenzie, Fraser. And you may say, who is that? That is my guy from Outlander. And I think that tonight is the season finale of Outlander. So I'm going to be, stripping these off. My nightgown is underneath it. I have some wine. Well, I'm sipping on some wine right now, some sangria. And I'm going to be sipping on some more sangria as I check out the season finale of Outlander over on Stars. So my Sundays are pretty packed. Because on Sunday you used to have, I used to watch Power, and then 50 has that Power Universe thing going on, and I think the last episodes of Force, I think that's done. So I don't think 50 has anything else lined up for us to watch on Sundays, and I'm going to be done with the Stars subscription after tonight because season finale of Outlander, and I think 50 Cent said that there isn't going to be any more episodes from the shows that he produces for another 6 months. So there's no need for me to keep the Stars Network then, right? Right. All right, then let's get to it. You have your work ready? I have mine. So I'm going to begin. And as you see, I'm going to start off with this I think I'm doing the seed stitch. I'm not sure. Yeah. And seed stitch is just half double crochet and then single crochet. And it's the same stitch that I use on my my hand towels. So I'm going to be incorporating that stitch in here, and then I'm going to incorporate the moss stitch. So the gray stitch is going to be the seed stitch, and then the gray yarn I'm using will be the seed stitch. And then the pattern for the black yarn that I'm using is going to be the moss stitch. Girl, it's getting late. So I have my notes ready for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I enjoyed it. Now, what would I give the episode? I think that I'm just so excited that the Real Housewives of Atlanta is back on the air that I want to give it a 10, but I'm going to give the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm going to give them a 9 or maybe a 8.5. And the reason that I'm going to do this is because I think that it could have gotten a 10 for me had the Le Archive, if Marlo's event hadn't been the way that it was. And I'll get into that. If her event had not have been the typical Real Housewives of Atlanta situation, I would have gave the episode maybe a 9.5, 10. But because it was predictable, then I had to give I will have to give the entire episode a 8.5. And we'll get to that very shortly. Okay, so the episode opens up with Kenya. Remember, Kenya was a featured contestant on Dancing with the Stars. So it opens up with she and her dance instructor and partner hanging out in the studio in Atlanta, and Candy, Sheree, and who else came? Candy, Sheree, and Marlo visited Kenya at the studio. And so it seems as if Marlo and Kenya were getting along, but by the time we get to Marlo's event, then I'm guessing that was the framework for the drama between the two of them for the rest of the season, I suppose. It was good seeing Kenya. It was good seeing Candy. It was good seeing Marlo. Even though we've heard from all of them, well, we've heard from these ladies already in social media. We know what Candy is up to. We know what Marlo has been up to. We know what Sheree has been up to. So it's good. We know already in social media what's been happening in their lives. But it's good to see all of them together. Now I'm going to say this though. I did miss seeing Cynthia in this episode. I really did miss seeing Cynthia at the studio with Kenya. I missed her presence on the show. I do want to say that I felt like I was missing something, and what I was missing was Cynthia. And I know a lot of people say, well, Cynthia is boring. Cynthia doesn't bring anything, didn't bring anything to the show. But I really felt that, and I really believe that Cynthia, she did bring a lot to the show. And even if she wasn't bringing the drama, she was a stable presence on the show. And I kind of missed her tonight. Yes, I did. I missed Cynthia Bailey. I missed her a lot, and I missed her banter and her relationship with Kenya. I did. I really missed that. So, Marlo lets the ladies know that she's going to have this event showcasing her business called Le Archive. And Le Archive is a business where she is presenting the clothes that she's collected, that she's purchased and collected or curated over the years. She is opening up her closet and allowing stylists in the industry to come and pick from her wardrobe and rent it for different celebrity events or TV shows, movies, red carpet events, things of that nature. So it's a really good business because as you probably know, stylists go everywhere looking for clothing for their clients. And I think her name was Patricia Fields. Patricia Fields used to curate items for Sarah Jessica Parker and all the girls over on Sex and the City. Now she's at Emily in Paris now. And if you've never watched the show Emily in Paris and you're really not into shows of this nature, check out Emily in Paris just for the fashions. Okay, the fashions are fabulous because Patricia Fields, she's one heck of a stylist. So Marlo's business, that's going to be a fantastic way to make money off your closet and off your collections of clothing. Instead of allowing them to just sit in a closet or in storage, why not use them, especially if they're couture, So they have a conversation at the dance studio, and everyone is talking about Sheree. Sheree lets us know that Tyrone, her boo from who was in prison, she lets us know that Tyrone got out of jail. They asked her, well, what was it like having sex with Tyrone, for the first time? And Sheree says it was quick. That was funny. But the not so funny part was the fact that Candy said that she and Todd are having a very lackluster sexual thing going on in the bedroom. Which, guess what? Everybody can't be on fire all the time in a marriage. And I guess people are thinking that since Candy is the owner of Bedroom Candy, since she is, the Dungeon Queen and all of this other stuff, that she would just be, it would just be click on in the bedroom all the time. And that's not necessarily true, especially when you're a busy person. Like Candy says, she and Todd are busy. They have businesses. Candy has an acting career that takes her out of town. Sometimes the glow goes out of the bedroom. But, and I know Candy probably already knows this, she doesn't need me to tell her this, but sometimes you gotta do what you can to bring that fire back into your bedroom if you want to keep your marriage going. You gotta make sure, the fire is amped up in all the rooms, not just the office. So I thought that conversation was cool and enlightening, and maybe that's going to set us up for Candy and Todd the rest of the season as well. We're going to get some insight into exactly what they're doing. Now, I haven't watched Candy and the Gang. I watched the first 2 episodes or 3 episodes of Candy and the Gang, but I haven't watched any more, and so I'm probably a little bit out of the loop on what's going on over there. But I don't think that Candy has really been talking. I don't know if she's been talking about her relationship on the show about she and Todd. I don't know. But they're more than likely going to talk about their relationship over over on RHOA, and we'll probably get some insight into, what's going on with them too. Because I do know one thing, and they have a new baby, which is true. And sometimes when you have children, especially young children, you get tied down with a lot of stuff. You get tied down with a lot of things, and that can have an effect on your marriage, because you're busy parenting and loving on your young ones, and you forget sometimes that in the midst of parenting, you got to nurture your own relationship. So while you're nurturing your children, you're forgetting about nurturing your marriage. And it is very possible for those things to happen, especially if you're working, you're an entrepreneur, you're a celebrity, you have things going on. So it's very possible. So, I'm hoping that Candy and Todd have been working on, stoking those flames in their bedroom. Because like I said, bedroom is an important room, and it's just as important, if not more important, than the other rooms in your house. Because a sexual relationship with your mate, that strengthens your marriage, having that physical, intimate connection. I mean, psychologists can go on and on. You can find the research on how beneficial the act of touching one another, how that brings emotional stability and balance to your whole psyche. So having that physical connection with your husband or your wife, that's really important. So I thought that was interesting. Then we head over to Marlo's spot, her penthouse, or wherever it is that she resides with her children, with her nephews, and they call her Mumty. We find out that unfortunately, Marlo's sister, her nephew's mom, is incarcerated right now. So that's terrible. That's unfortunate. And we watched Marlo have, do this thing with her children, her nephews in the morning, and I thought that was cool. But I wonder if that was just for the camera. Because let's be real about it. When you're getting your teenagers up for school, you are not looking your absolute best, and I really don't believe that Marlo was up fixing breakfast and omelets in the morning time. And see, that's another thing about these reality shows. Sometimes I think that we have gotten away from being real. Let's be real. What's wrong with being real on a reality TV show? Marlo, you had your wig game going, you had your drag on, you was looking good early in the morning. I'm just saying, I just don't think that's cool. I think that we want the viewers, I think that we're getting kind of tired of that. I think that we want our reality TV people to be real with us. Anyhow, we go over next to one thing I also want to note about Marlo that I thought was really cool, though, besides the fact that she was in full drag cooking breakfast for her nephews, what I really, really admire is the fact that Marlo doesn't have any children. She was living in that penthouse by herself, and she put she put that life on the back burner for her nephews, and she created space in her life to take care of and to mother her nephews. And that is so, so admirable. And regardless of how I may feel about Marlo, and I don't have anything against Marlo, regardless of what I may feel or what I may think or say about some things that she does, you know what? I'm going to always tip my locks to her, because she didn't have to do that. And she has shown her nephews a different lifestyle, and with all of that, though, showing them what it's like to have a lifestyle of privilege. Beyond all of that, the fact of the matter is that Marlo is giving them and showing them love. And that's the most important thing. So whatever I may feel about Marlo, whatever I may say about her throughout this season, guess what? That's just the show stuff. The real stuff with her being a mumty to her nephews, she's always going to be A1. Period. A1, period. Tipping my locks up to Marlo Hampton. You do that. You doing it. And don't let anyone make you feel any kind of way about what you're doing in your life, Marlo. Okay, so now I'm going to start talking about people. So, Drew Sidora is back. In my notes, this is what I wrote about Drew. Drew and her husband. Boo! That's what I wrote about Drew. And the reason why I don't like Drew, and I hate to say this, I'm going to say it like this. I don't like the character of Drew. I don't know her as a person, or personally, I don't know her. I only know the character that she presents on the show. And like I said with Marlo, I don't know Marlo either, so I may say some things about her character on the show, which is going to be really, it's really about the Marlo Hampton on the show. In real life, Marlo is doing her thing, and she's raising her sister's children, which is a wonderful thing. So, you know, I don't have anything to say about that. I may have something to say about the character of Marlo, but I don't have nothing to say about Marlo as a person, because as far as I can see, she's really, you know, doing it, and what she's doing is very admirable. But when I look at Drew Sidora, last season, I tried to like her, but I stopped liking her when she decided to put something that Kenya told her in confidence. She put that on Front Street for whatever reason she decided to do that, which I do not recall. Well, maybe I don't recall why Drew did that or not, but I'm sure that was also the point when Kenya stopped liking her as well. Because no matter what you may think about my decision to do something, if I come to you and I say to you, look, I'm telling you this, but don't say anything to anyone else about it, and then the minute I turn my back, you go ahead and do the opposite, I can't F with you no more. I can't. And I don't like you, because you have shown me that you are untrustworthy. We cannot be friends, and we're going to have a continuous, ongoing problem. And from that point on, I really began to dislike the character of Drew Sidora. I stopped liking her character, and that's why. Because I feel that I feel like she was trying to ingratiate herself with the other cast members on the show. She said she wanted to be Kenya's friend. She said she wanted to have a relationship or start a friendship with Kenya. And then the next thing you do is you do this, girl. No. Even at Marlo's event, Drew pulls Kenya aside and says, well, you know, I think we got off to the wrong foot last season. And, you know, or last year or whatever, however they do this. And I really want to, you know, I want to do things differently. And I want us to have a clean slate. And Kenya was looking at her like, yeah, okay. But, you know, I'm also thinking that Kenya's probably like, no, girl, you proved to me who you are last season with the BS you put out there. So no, just like Drew was like, I'm gonna be watching her. I'm sure Kenya is saying the same thing, or said the same thing. I'm gonna be watching you too, boo. I don't know, but anyhow, when I saw Drew and her husband, I was like, boo, 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 boo. Because I feel that the both of them are full of shit. Period. I really, really do. I just feel like the both of them. And she comes on, she and Sanya. I keep saying, when I say Sanya, I'm thinking about Tanya, but it's Sonia. I don't know. I'm going to listen to her pronounce her name, but I'm gonna roll with Sonia and see if that's it. Anyway, Sonia and her husband, who's a National Football League player, two-time Super Bowl winner, and Drew and Ralph, they all meet up at a gym And so they're working out together and they're doing all this stuff. And so Drew tells Sonia that she is I think she an ambassador, a partner in this weight loss program, and she says for people who need to lose hundreds of pounds. So Drew is saying that she's joined it and she's excited about it, and that this program is in different states across the country. So I'm saying to myself, okay, so why they tap you? You said this is a weight loss program for people who need to lose hundreds of pounds. Have you ever experienced having to lose hundreds of pounds? No, I doubt it. So why are you the ambassador or the face of this program? That don't make no sense. Does it make sense to you? I mean, it's like when Khloe Kardashian started her own little weight loss, whatever it was she was doing. You know, to me, it was legitimate on one basis, and that basis is that Khloe knew what it meant to be overweight. Right? Now, even though allegedly Khloe may have gone the route of having some things done surgically to be able to lose the weight and sustain that weight loss, but Khloe knows what it takes, what it's like to be overweight. Okay, so you have to give Khloe a little credit there. However, Drew, you're the face of a weight loss program for people who are obese, and you're going to try to tell people who are obese how to lose weight. You're going to try to be inspirational to them. You're going to try to be encouraging to them, a support system. As soon as that came out of her mouth, I was like, girl, bye. And once again, I don't like you. Once again, I don't like you. I don't understand. You know, this is what I wrote down. When she said that, I wrote down in my notes, I said, but have you ever lost hundreds of pounds? Have you ever had to lose 50 pounds or more? If the answer is no, how did you get to be the face of this company? And why are you working with this company then? Why would you say that? And why should anybody who weighs 350 pounds up to maybe 600 pounds, why should they listen to you? As opposed to watching Dr. Nas on My 600 Pound Life. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, is that what you're trying to equate yourself to, Miss Drew Sidor? I don't know. But anyhow, later on, Drew has this tasting at her home where she wants to show Sonia and Candy, you know, the menu that she's working on for this weight loss company that she's working for. And you know, they're sitting around eating and everything. And, you know, once again, Drew with the bullshit, she begins to say stuff like, well, you know, I got on this program and I lost 25 pounds on this program. And, you know, I had some surgery because remember I had the situation with myself, my insides, because remember on the reunion she felt like she was being body shamed, and you know, come to find out, according to her, she has some type of condition. So she tells Sonia and Candy that she had a hysterectomy, and I'm guessing that helped her out a little bit with her situation that she had, that some type of disease or illness that puts on the weight. So she said that while she also has that hysterectomy, you know, she allegedly also has some other work done, a BBL or something of the nature. And then she also claims she lost 25 pounds. So which is it, sis? Did you get a BBL and some liposuction and some work done? And is that how you really lost the weight? Or was it through the efforts that you put in for being an ambassador for this company? Is that how you lost the weight? Did you use the formula that this company that you are representing, did you use their formula to lose the weight? And then Bravo did something interesting. While she was saying that she had lost 25 pounds on the program, the Bravo show, or the producer showed a picture of her, and the picture said that she had lost 10 pounds. And I'm gonna look at that again, but I could have sworn that the Bravo producers put a picture of her and it said she had lost 10 pounds in 3 weeks, even though she told Sonia and Candy that she had lost 25 pounds in a few weeks. And even those two women, they wasn't buying that bull. They wasn't buying it. And once again, like I said, when I saw Drew come on the screen, I was like, boo, boo. You're full of it, sis. You're full of it. Nobody believes you. And then another thing that kills me about you is that, and I hate to say this about women, but can you really be that dumb? Once again, here's a situation with your husband. You say, oh yeah, well, my husband and I, we're still together, but we're still working on it. It's a lot of hard work. Marriage is a lot of hard work. Yeah, I bet it is when you got a husband that wants to lie to you all the time. Yeah, I bet marriage is really, really hard work when you got to deal with somebody like your husband all the time. And you're always catching your husband doing the most, questionable things. It's got to be hard to live with that all the time. So, last season we had the infamous trip to Tampa, which she never found out really why his butt was down here in Tampa. Okay, from Atlanta, for some reason, he drove all the way to Tampa and never really told anybody why he was down here. Supposedly, he was at a hotel. I don't know. Maybe he was at the beach, he said. I don't know why he was here in Tampa, but I don't think Drew knows the real reason why he was in Tampa either. Then she proceeds to tell the ladies that she found some messages in his phone from his so-called assistant. And his assistant was and Ralph's assistant was asking him, Ralph said he had some back problems. And so the assistant said, well, do you want me to come up and give you a massage? So while she's telling the ladies this story, of course, Ralph walks in. When you're only getting her side of the story. Here's my side of the story. And what Sonia and Candy wants to know is when your assistant asked you if you would like for her to give you a massage, what was your response? And he danced as usual. And this is what Ralph does on the show, is he starts dancing. He dances around the truth, which is so asinine to me. Just answer the question. It's somebody else that does that. Oh yes, Marceau over at Love and Marriage Huntsville. Just dance around the subject, the question. Just answer the question. The question was, what was your response to your assistant when your assistant suggested that she come over and give you a massage? So Drew was like, well, hey, that's what he did. And I was upset. So I got in my car and I took the kids and we ran away to Chicago for a little bit. Or did she say that? Or did she tell Sonia that at the gym? I can't remember. But she did say that she left Ralph and went to Chicago with the kids. behind this incident. And I wrote in my notes, Drew is kind of dumb. That's what I wrote in my notes from her scene. Because, honey, your husband has a problem with the truth. I hate to be talking about people's husbands and their marriages, and the only reason that I would even dare to say anything like that is because you're on TV. But according to what I see on television, unless you guys are just acting, you are an actress. So unless you guys are acting, the only thing I can say is that, once again, your husband is playing you for a fool. He making you look dumb, girl. I mean, when your assistant says something of that nature to you, and you're a married man or married woman, then what you should do is you need to tell your assistant no, and inform your assistant that they've crossed the line and that you're going to have to let them go. Their services has been terminated. That is what you're supposed to do. That is the correct response. Drew had to force her husband to fire the assistant behind that. Then, later at Marlo's show, Candy does some internet sleuthing and finds the assistant. And the day that the four of them have that conversation in Drew and Ralph's kitchen, the fired assistant makes a reply to that on social media. So, yeah, Ralph fired her, but he's still cool with the chick. Drew said in the kitchen that she didn't know the woman's name. She only knew the woman's nickname and all this other stuff. But Candy did some sleuthing and found out all the tea. Got all the information. My question for you, Drew, is why couldn't you have done that? Why couldn't you have found, why didn't you know all the information about your husband's assistant? Why didn't you know your husband's assistant's full name? Because even though that's your husband's assistant, that's also your assistant as well. Because you're a married couple. So why didn't you know this information? That's why I say that woman is dumb. And then here's another thing about Drew then I'm going to jump off of her. It's another thing that Drew said at the gym to Sonia. She said that Drew told her that nothing comes between him and his dreams. And that even she, his wife, she doesn't come before his dreams. And he said that if Drew came before his dreams, he would leave her. Or something like that. Yeah, he said if Drew came or tried to come before his dreams, that he would have to let her go. See, that's that dumb stuff that I don't understand about today's generation of women, of young women. I don't really understand that. Like, my daughter was telling me that there was a conversation or a question on Facebook, and the question was, if your man comes home at 3 a.m., no, here's the scenario. Your man comes home at 3 a.m., wakes you up and say, hey, I'm hungry. get up and fix me something to eat, what would you do? And she told me that the majority of the women commenting on that question all said that they will hop up and fix their husband or their boyfriend some food at 3 a.m. See, I have questions. I have questions. I'm 54 years old, okay? I used to be 22, 23, 24, 25. I used to be young. And let me explain something to you. And then we're going to hop back into the Real Housewives. If my man, boyfriend, husband, whoever came in the house at 3 a.m. and awakened me and said, Tracy or Nell, I'm hungry. Get up and fix me something to eat. I got questions. And you know what one of those questions would be? First of all, the first question is, why are you coming in the house at 3 a.m., waking me up, asking me to make you some dinner or to cook you some food? First of all, where you been? Why are you walking in the house at 3 a.m.? Wherever you were up until the time you walked in the door at 3 a.m., they didn't have food there? Because if you were coming in from a job or something like that, guess what? There will already be legitimately food left for you in the oven or in the microwave. If you were coming from someplace legitimately, I would have already cooked something for you. There will already be something for you. But if you waking me up at 3 a.m. and I haven't left you anything in the oven, I haven't left you anything in the microwave, then we need to ask ourselves a question. You and I as a couple. First of all, how you gonna disrespect me and come in my house at 3 a.m. and wake me up and ask me or expect me to fix you dinner? Who do you think I am? Then I have a question for myself. Why am I in a relationship where I am being disrespected? See, I got to ask myself that question. I got to ask myself the question, what kind of a woman am I to be submitting to this type of disrespectfulness and this type of rude behavior? Obviously, this man is cheating on me. He's out here doing something that's having him drag himself in the house. And obviously, it's something about me that's accepting this and allowing this behavior to take place. So it must be my own low self-esteem and confidence in myself and the lack of belief that I deserve something better and I deserve to be treated with respect. And that's how I feel about Drew Sidora. I feel that she is allowing her partner or her husband to play her. I believe she don't think that she deserves to be treated with respect. Anytime your husband can say, hey, my dreams come before my wife and my family, that's kind of effed up. And if they came or tried to get in front of my dreams, I would have to let them go. Girl, if that is not a red flag, I don't know what is. The fact that he got in his car or plane or train or whatever and hopped on the highway to Tampa in the middle of a pandemic and didn't tell you where he was at, that's a red flag. The fact that his assistant is offering back massages and everything else that comes with that. Because we all know that when somebody offers you, a woman offers a man a back massage, we all know that's an open-ended question. or statement or comment. So we have to think about that. So women, we have to think about those things. And when you allow your husband to treat you a certain kind of way in public and on camera, then that just then whatever it is that we feel about you as a person, then we're allowed to feel it and we're allowed to have that opinion. And that's just me. I don't know Drew Sidor personally, but I know that from what she presents to us on film, I don't like it. I don't like it. And that's why when I saw her, I said, boo, boo, boo. Now let's get off of her. Let's get off of her. I'm done with that. So anyhow, Marlo sends a she sends an electronic evite. Well, I shouldn't say electronic evite, but that's kind of what it was. She had a messenger go around to everyone's house and present them this footage, this video footage of her inviting them to her event. She says it's black tie and it's fancy and it's going to showcase her business, l'Archive, and excuse me, and everyone is excited except Kenya. Kenya is like, oh, well, you know, this little video is Evite is kind of cheap. Oh my God. I don't know why Kenya does what she does. I swear to God, I don't know. I don't understand it, you know. And I also think it's because I think it's true that some of the ladies are not happy with Marlo being a full-time cast member. And I also think that, you know, one of those ladies is Kenya. Because then that would mean that Marlo will be on her level on the show. And I do believe that. So they all show up at the event in a beautiful venue. It's a ballroom, and Marlo has all of her curated designs and fashions on mannequins throughout the ballroom. And of course, when the ladies come, they're like, well, is this going to be a runway show? There's just mannequins with clothes on it. And, you know, what's happening? You know, she has this beautiful space. You know, why isn't she using the space to its fullest potential? And I thought the same thing. And I thought it was very, very interesting. I also like the fact that as the cast came together as a group, so you had Candy, you have Drew, Ralph, Sonia, her husband, who else? Kenya. And, you know, they're all talking, and then Sheree comes in. And Sheree comes in, and she comes into the group, and everybody's like, hey, it's Sheree. You know, who gonna check me, boo? Whitfield, you know, so everybody's like, hey, Sheree. And Sheree, you know, Drew introduces herself, and Sheree's like, oh, yes, I've heard lots of things about you. And then Drew and Ralph say, oh, I hope it's nice things. And then, you know, Sheree looks at them, and she says, of course. But it was the way Sheree said, of course, that had me rolling. Because, you know, I'm sure Sheree, no, the things I've heard about you, Drew, no, they were not all nice things. No, they weren't. And I'm sure, I don't know if Sheree is going to get into it with Drew later. I don't know what that's going to look like. But the way Sheree said, of course, I laughed because I was like, oh, child, Drew, yeah, Sheree heard some things about you, and no, they were not all nice. But Sheree is gonna save that for another time, I guess. And then Kenya and Sonia, they're all in the group and they're all talking about um Marlo's event, and Kenya brings up that the spelling is wrong, or the name La Archive is spelled incorrectly, and so Sonia starts laughing and said, "Yeah, I study French, and that the and the way Marlo is spelling Le Archive is incorrect." And then of course, Bravo producers are messy anyway, so they show you the correct spelling of that word. And I thought that was funny, because that was funny. But the terrible part comes in the fact that while Sonia was off talking about Marlo's event, just like the other ladies were, Sonia and Sheree decide that they're going to tell Marlo about the conversation that's happening, that the girls are saying or having about the event, and that pisses Marlo off, because Marlo's like, "Oh, here we go again. I have an event, and then y'all gonna dog me." And of course, you heard Kenya say a few things. Kenya talking about, what you could have done. It's not decorated. It's not fabulous. It's not anything. It's just a space that you purchased that you could have done more with which is not a bad criticism to have, because, the Marvel cameramen, they showed us what the event, what the place looked like. And yes, Marlo could have done it up. She could have done it up. I think she said she spent $40,000 on that space. So, if you're saying that you can make that money up, why didn't you put another $10,000 in it to make it look really grand? Why didn't you have models walking around with your outfit on? What would have been wrong with that? That would have really have brought your fashions to life. And I understand what Marlo said. Marlo said, "Well, this is how it is. This is what it looks like when you go to, you go to Paris and you go to a couture house, and this is how it looks." And she's correct. She is correct. If you go to Paris and you go to, a traditional house of couture, it does look like that. This is true. However, honey, you're in Atlanta. Honey, you're getting ready to film for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So you got to show your Atlanteans how it's done. But while you're showing them how it's done and you're giving them an education in couture, you got to also make it palatable and fabulous for them as well. Right? Yeah, that's how you do these things. Yes, you want to show everyone that, you're très fabulous, of course. But you have to also remember who your audience is. Okay, and your audience, and that she is, when she went off on the ladies and she said, "Hey, you girls have big money, so you should know this. You should understand what I'm doing over here." Now, I may see these other girls, they may not know, but you with the big bucks, you should know. Money has nothing to do with it. Money has nothing to do with what she's talking about. Just because Kenya and Candy may have a lot of money, that obviously that doesn't mean that they travel to Paris and that they hang out at couture fashion houses. That doesn't mean they hang out at the Chanel salon or at the Chanel boutique or at the Christian Dior salon or boutique. That doesn't mean any of that. So they would not know. Sometimes you have to read your audience. So anyhow, Marlo goes off on everybody for talking about her event and trying to make fun of her event, when I think that the fact of the matter is they just didn't understand what Marlo was trying to convey through her event. You know, they didn't understand it. They didn't understand what her business, you know, what that was about. They didn't understand that either. And you have to like I said before, you have to know your audience. If you don't know your audience, then what you're trying to do is not going to go over well. And that's what happened at Marlo's event. But overall, I enjoyed Marlo's event, and it's really cool to see her stepping out and doing something. The funny thing that I thought was, you know, was what I thought was funny is the fact that that Candy and Kenya were just basically roasting Marlo, which was funny because Marlo was talking about, you know, how much money she had and how much money she spent on these clothes and certain items. And, you know, they were talking about, what did she say? She said something like, anyhow, Marla was insinuating that she had all this money and whatever, and that she spent her money on fashions and what have you. And you know how it was difficult it's difficult making money. And Kenya and Candy were like, well, yeah, we know how difficult it is to make money, but you know, we don't know anything about how you've come about or how you've gone about making your money. And then Kenya was like, oh, I know how she make her money, you know. And what she was trying to insinuate was, okay, well, you know, she gets these rich older men and she become a companion to them. There's those quotes again. And that's how Marlo got her money. And obviously she's a good person with money because she's stretching those dollars. So I thought that was kind of funny when Marlo and Candy roasted, when Kenya and Candy roasted Marlo. But I'm sure when I hop on Twitter, I'm sure Marlo is going to have something to say about that scene, because it did make her look bad. But we all know that, well, the streets say that Marlo had a Mr. Big too, like him, Zodiac Bierman. Allegedly is what the streets of Atlanta has been saying for years. And the person that she was engaged with had a very long and extensive pocket of money, of wealth. And that's how Marlo was able to have all the things that she did, you know, because of her, you know, because of her dalliances with this man, allegedly. Remember, I don't know these people, and this is alleged, and this is gossip, and this is what the streets have been saying for years about Marlo. And it's also alleged that this is one of the reasons why Marlo never wanted to be a peach holder, because of the rumors and things that were going around about her personal life. But I'm guessing that perhaps she's buried it really, really, really deep now that she's a full-time peach holder. I don't know. But I do know that Marlo was really, really upset by the time the episode ended. And this is going to be the start of the problems, issues she's going to have with Kenya, and the issues that she's going to have with Candy. And we already know that it's going to get down and dirty between her and Candy this season. So this is probably the beginning of how all of this ridiculousness started, was probably at this event. But we shall see, won't we? We shall see. So that was it for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Of course, they gave us some snippets about what's getting ready to happen this coming season. But I am really, really excited for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm really happy to see that my girl Sheree is back. I'm really happy to see Kenya and Candy again. I'm excited to get to know this new girl. But you know, as far as that Drew Sidora goes and her husband Ralph, no. As I said earlier, as soon as she came on the scene, I was like, boo, boo. I just don't understand. And they're trying to, you know, from what Bravo's producers are trying to show us is that there's going to be some type of tension and whatever in Drew and Ralph's marriage. But, you know, are we really invested in that crap? No, not really, because we don't really care. The viewer doesn't care about that marriage. We all know that Ralph is a liar, and tonight we saw that Drew is a liar as well. So it's one of those Johnny Depp, Amber Heard type of things where they both deserve each other because they're both crappy, so they deserve to be together. It's one of those situations. So I'm not invested in that, but I would like to see Sonya's family, and I didn't talk about Sonya's family. Her situation, as you know, I think she's a 2 or 3 time Olympian gold medal winner. Her husband is a 2-time Super Bowl winner. And let me see. Her family is from Jamaica, man. Jamaica, man. That's where her family is from. And there was one snippet about their marriage I found that was very interesting. They have a 4-year-old son, and her husband wants to have another child. He said he wants to have a daughter because they only have one child. But Sonia was saying that she didn't know if they were ready to have another child, and she felt that if they had another child it would ruin their marriage. And her husband, what was her husband's name? Let me look at my notes again. I want to say his name was Aaron Ross or something like that. I don't know. I have to look that up again. But anyhow, Sonia was saying that if they had another child, being that they're both so busy, it could destroy their marriage. And her husband said, well, I feel that not having another child is going to destroy our marriage. I thought that was interesting. And when he said that in front of her parents. So her parents were like, well, what are you going to do? And even her father was like, well, everybody is busy. Everybody is busy, but are you gonna, not give your husband another child and be headed for divorce court? Is that your plan? And then her mother stepped in and said, well, hey, it's a lot to be a woman. You're a wife, you're a business person, you have a career, and to be a mother. And then her mother said to her father, you didn't help me with our kids. So it's easy for a man to say, oh yes, I want to have 11 kids, but who's going to be doing all the work? And like Sonia said about her husband, she said when she had her son, her husband wasn't around helping her out. She said her husband was not around. She said he wasn't around to help her, and he was also distant. So that's why she believes having another child is going to ruin their marriage. And I can understand how she feels, because if it happened the first time, there's a precedent, right? Yes. So we're about to find out the dynamics between Sonia and her husband Ross, and that should be interesting. And I don't know, maybe she's going to present to us a different type of person than what she started out with. being the bone collector over at Marlo's event, because I thought that wasn't cool. But maybe she's going to present to us a whole entire different situation as the episodes go on. So what do you rate and the reason why I gave the episode that 8.5 was because of the fact, as I said earlier, it was like the typical housewives thing. You have an event and then you invite all the ladies to your event and they doodle on it. They doodle on it and a fight breaks out. I mean, that is like so housewife-ish. That's what they do on all the shows, and it's kind of tiresome. It's old, and I would think that we could get past doing ignorant stuff like this at people's events, and that's why I gave the episode just an 8.5. I could have given it a 10, but I mean, I was just watching Real Housewives of Lagos, and they did the exact same thing. Somebody had an event and all the other ladies came to the event and doodle on the event, and then a fight broke out or argument. I mean, aren't y'all tired of that? I'm tired of it as a viewer, as a watcher. I mean, aren't you guys tired of doing that? That formula. I mean, that formula is kind of old. We get it. I know the producers want you guys to get together for events and have fun and all that other stuff. But why y'all got to doodle on each other, and then after you doodle on each other, then have a fight? I don't understand it. It goes back to what I was saying, that the Real Housewives is not reality TV anymore. It's basically scripted. That was my daughter. I don't know what she's doing out there. She said it was dark out there in the great room. I don't know what she's doing out there. I mean, isn't it like late? Why are people still walking around? I don't know. But anyhow, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Let's Crochet and Chat. And this is a special edition because I am reviewing The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I tried to keep this down to 30 minutes, but it didn't work out like that. So maybe next week I'll do a little bit better. But of course, I have to give my own commentary. Please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, like, share, all of those wonderful things. How did you rate the episode? Tell me your thoughts about the episode right down in the comment section after you subscribe and like. Okay? So let me know what you thought about the episode. Let me know what you thought was funny, what made you reflect. What do you think about the new girl Sonia? What did you think about Ralph and his assistant talking about she wants to give him a massage? What about that? What do you think about that? And what are your thoughts about how the season is about to unfold? And are you happy to see Sheree? Who gonna check me, boo? Whitfield back. I'm excited though. I'm excited. You know that she's bringing Lisa Wu back, Lisa Wu to some episodes on RHOA as well. So I cannot wait to see the OGs, hanging out on RHOA again. Yes, we need to bring back Deshaun Snow as well. But no, we don't need Kim. We don't want Kim back. No. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in the tiny studio. Were you able to get anything done? I hope so. I started a whole new row. As you see, I'm working on an Afghan, so I started a whole new row, and I'm about midway through this row. This is a really, when you're talking about working on an Afghan, of course, it's a long, really in length is a very long Afghan. So I've been working on it on this particular row, and I'm probably going to finish up and put it a stitch marker there and work on it again tomorrow. But I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday evening. And thank you so much for hanging out with me in the tiny studio. And check me out the next time on Let's Crochet and Chat. I'll see you next time. And of course, I'll see you next Sunday for a review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Have a great night, okay? Bye-bye.